So to stop the suspense, here's the result. Closing opposition wins, opening government comes second, closing government comes third, and you guys unfortunately come fourth. So here's why this happens. We feel that closing opposition in this debate is the one that win it, while on the government side what's happening is we get a reasonable case from opening government. We feel that you guys could have been a bit more specific with the mechanism, right? There were some issues on the opposition. We as judges also interpreted it slightly differently, but none of this was problematic. It just shows that you might want to pay a bit more attention to that in your next debate. The arguments that we get from you are interesting, they make sense. The opposition launches a couple of attacks on those arguments, but we feel that the way you guys are arguing is unsuccessful because even the opening government is able to respond to all of your types of arguments against psychological and physical trauma. But what's more important, we feel that you never come back answering those arguments, right? Even though the answers from opening are very short, but to the point, right? You guys never come back when, for instance, they say it's very hard for someone to hit a kid, right? If they have an abusive parents, that already sucks for them, but there is no reason that the opposition is given that this would change, right? And from this perspective, it also makes sense that the closing opposition changes their strategy, right? Moving away from this type of, oh, kids are going to get hit or abused, into analyzing how the family dynamics are actually going to change, right? Closing government, we had quite a bit of a discussion between you guys and opening government, right? In terms of who goes over who on this line. In the end, while we thought that you guys did have an extension, it wasn't huge, it wasn't amazing, it was a perfectly fine extension in this debate. However, we feel that the amount of legwork that needs to be done for government to win this debate has mostly been done by opening government, right? And we also see that when the closing opposition is engaging mostly with the material coming from the opening, right? Because they perceive it as more dangerous on their part. So in a way, the suggestion for you guys is, before you start giving your speeches, ask yourself which team is winning and then try to beat that one, because it seemed as if you were trying to beat opening opposition instead of opening government in the way you were strategically setting up your case. Now, the closing opposition, we feel we get the analysis of structural problems of poverty from you guys clearly for the first time, right? You managed to point out that this type of a simple measure probably isn't going to fix all problems. It's now too late for the government to come out of that, so you guys were you got the advantage of being the closing team, right? If this were the arguments run on the opening, we might see a different debate. So in the end, we take you winning. On the government side, we choose opening government over closing in that comparison, and unfortunately, you guys have the least stuff standing at the end of the debate. Any questions?